So you're here to discover what your true purpose is in life, yeah? Well, what if I was to tell you that your true purpose is already here? But maybe you just need to peel back a few layers to discover it. Yeah, often many of us can think, what am I meant to be doing in my life? We see people we admire, like doctors and nurses and amazing care assistants, and we see architects and actors and people who have really followed their passion, followed their dreams, and they do so with such a great sense of purpose. And some of these people will have known since early childhood that this is the path they want to take. Now you may feel really frustrated because you think, well, I have talents, I have passions, but I don't really know which way to go. And maybe life might feel a little bit empty because of that. Maybe you're sitting in a job that you're not particularly happy with. You're staring at a screen and you're pushing paper from one side of the desk to the other, and you're thinking, what am I doing with my life? Yeah? Well, I too have felt like that in the past. I too have thought, what is my purpose? What is my passion? Why can't I discover it? Well, I have been reflecting very much on my own path, and in that reflection, things have become clearer to me. Now, I have this feeling that our purpose within us is something that we will discover once we manage to look inside ourselves. Oh no, you might say, she's doing all that again, all that look within, just be, let go, detach, blah, 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 all that stuff. Well, I sort of am, but I can give you a very direct, guided way of finding your purpose. Okay, sorry, itchy nose. You see, when we get lost, because some of us do, don't we? We get lost, we get swept up in the tornado of life, of busyness, of our jobs, our children, our parents, our friends, and we're just like, whoa, and who we are becomes buried. But when we start to look within, so when I've talked on previous videos about the Jungian concept of the shadow side, yes? So I'm, okay. I'm going to relate this to myself a little bit, yeah? Not because I just want to sit here talking about myself, but I think it helps in visualizing perhaps someone else's journey to discovery, to find, to sort of highlight what I mean, okay? So I did have a passion in life in earlier years, and I worked in television and I absolutely loved it. And I gave that up for very good reasons, for reasons of the heart, okay? So that's fine, but that was that chapter. New chapter, what on earth am I doing, right? Now, this led me to a path of feeling really really despairing, actually, feeling like the only options that were available to me were options that I did not actually want to take. Now, again, in other videos, I talk about looking at our pain as like a friend, an ally, someone who is going to show us something that we need to be alerted to. Yeah? So that pain inside of me, that sort of, well, there were lots of different things, but that particular pain was alerting me to my dissatisfaction. And also I began to learn more about my shadow side, and this led me on to actually reading about Carl Jung, and it made sense to me, and it made things a lot clearer. So suddenly I began to look inward. I began to face the things that I was A, not comfortable facing, or B, just really not aware of at all. So I began to learn by looking at things that perhaps people would say to me that hit a nerve, yeah, and I didn't want to hear, facing them head on. I began to learn a lot about myself and my self-sabotaging ways. Now this is key, this is important in what I'm talking about finding our purpose. Yeah, so I looked at those things, and then I started to work on myself. I realised I was a people pleaser. I realised I always said yes instead of no. I realised that I just gave out to make sure everyone was happy and content, and thinking that if everyone was happy and content, I would be okay. I began to realise these behaviours, and actually that they were forms of self-sabotage. Oh, I've got water, I need water, always need water. Right, okay, stay with me, just stay with me, okay? So, and avoidance, and just other issues in my life, okay? Right? And when I began to address these things, when I began to face them head on, things started to reveal themselves. Now, one of my big self-sabotaging things was fear of failure, okay? So I had actually started a Journey of Me blog years ago, when blogs were like the thing, and I'd written several pieces and saved them onto my computer, never did anything with it, because that fear of failure, at the point of pressing publish, my fear of failure took over. Yeah, so I didn't go any further. Anyway, in recent times, I started to think, right, come on, Catherine, because I often talk to myself, this is not good enough. Yeah, you don't want what is being suggested to you, what you feel you have to do. For once in your life, choose yourself, please. So I started to think how I'd always wanted to be, like, just not actually work for anyone. I always wanted to work for myself. That's something I'd always had in the back of my head. I don't really want to work for anyone. I want to do my own business. So I started setting up a dog business and thinking that, yes, I could do this. But actually, the dog walking business where I live is pretty saturated, and it didn't come to anything. But that's okay, because we have failures, okay? We have to expect failures. So then I sort of thought a bit more about my passions. Now, I love crochet, yeah, and I thought, I know, I'll start a crochet channel. So I started a crochet channel, and I was putting up crochet tutorials, and it was, it was a slow start. And just by coincidence, I thought, you know what, I'll actually do another channel, Journey of Me. And this was only going to be like a side thing, just to log really and help me keep the momentum up on my crochet channel of being a new YouTuber, and how a new YouTuber, the true path of a new YouTuber for other people to come and see. So yes, I took it seriously, but that actually wasn't my main focus. My main focus was the crochet. But as it happens, or organically, what's happened is this Journey of Me channel is where I've actually started to take off. Now, it wasn't the original path that I thought I was going to be taking. I thought I was doing, well, dog walking, but then crochet. But that's just how life works, yes? We can't force the direction, we just let it flow, okay? So now I'm on Journey of Me. I'm feeling very passionate about sharing with other people the things that I have perhaps struggled with in my life, yeah? And just sort of being able to share my experiences to help other people. It also ties in nicely to sort of my way of thinking anyway, is that I do have a faith. I do have faith in a higher source of power, and I do believe that my struggles and my challenges were there for a reason. And actually, that's becoming even more apparent now, because now that I've created a channel where I want to share my struggles, I'm able to go back and source all of those struggles and how I overcame them to help other people. Yeah? So I just sort of think, yeah, this is how it was all meant to be. So my reasoning on how we discover ourselves is actually stripping away those limited belief systems, those fears of failures, of what we think we can't do, or we think we're going to fail, or we will never succeed, all those fears that we have, all the fears that perhaps our parents or friends or colleagues or anyone, their limited beliefs, their fears that they put onto us. And when we realise that actually we're not going to go down that path anymore, yeah, that is when things start to change. And that is what is happening to me. Okay. Funnily enough, I was thinking about, I don't know, it's funny, isn't it, how the mind works. In recent months, I often think about the Lord's Prayer, and there are two lines in the Lord's Prayer. Hang on, sorry. Deliver us from evil and lead us not into temptation. Now, I've been sort of mulling over in my head those two lines, deliver us from evil and lead us not into temptation. And thinking about that and how I can relate that to how the things that I am going through. So the deliver us from evil, it's like the evil isn't like evil, like evil. It's like our own evils, our own forms of self-sabotage. Yeah. So thinking about that deliver us from evil. Yeah. Break us free from those chains of self-sabotage, or those chains of whatever it is that is keeping us like boxed in. Yeah. Okay. Now this isn't just a Christian concept. In the Quran, and I have been reading the Quran, I haven't read it all, but I'm trying to I want to read it and then sort of study it, because it's just something I would like to take further interest in. There is a powerful parallel in the opening prayer. Now, this prayer is Surah Al-Fatiha, okay? And it's a plea to be guided to the straight path. Now, actually, so the path of favour, not the path of being led astray. Now, actually, this actually relates very much to the deliver us from evil. Yeah? So keep us on the straight path, but as in, let us break free from the chains that have kept us down, from the deliver us from evil. Keep us on a path of alignment. Yeah. Yeah. And also, so deliver us from evil, lead us not into temptation. Lead us not, don't, in that we don't want to be tempted back into those old self-sabotaging beliefs, because actually when you become more consciously aware, your thinking becomes more conscious, you sort of think, oh, hey, I am working out life and this is great, and I know I'm starting to realize all these amazing things, and actually it's very easy to slip back into your old ways. Okay, so lead us not into temptation. And in Islamic practice of seeking refuge, you are doing the same. You are claiming responsibility for your soul. They have they refer to the whisperer, and the whisperer can be that voice in your head that's sort of saying to you, in the Quran, they talk about the whisperer, that voice in your head that's saying to you, you'll fail, you can't do it. Yeah. So I just find it interesting, the parallels between the Lord's Prayer and the Islamic prayer. Something I would like to do another day for another video is I want to look further into Christianity and the Islamic faith, because I feel very much that in recent years there is very unjust how people refer to our Muslim brothers and sisters, because everything I have learned about Islam is that it's a very peace-loving religion. And it's fascinating actually how you are guided in all areas of life. You are, it's giving you like a blueprint of how to navigate all areas of life. And I've read a lot of this, and it makes incredible sense. And whereas I think very much in the Western media, we will very often hear or be given prejudices against Islam in terms of, oh, Muslim men are oppressors, and you know, women have no choice. The man just leads, and women can be beaten, and it could not be further from the truth. Yeah, because often people say things out of fear, don't they? Yeah, we hear one person who's, I don't know, done something, and all of a sudden all Muslims are like terrorists. And I feel that this is really unjust, actually, because I've been studying the Quran because I find it really interesting. And in fact, going back thousands of years, the Quran was the first, they brought about more equality for women, yeah, in times where that wasn't even considered. And this was in the Quran, yeah. So we cast judgment on things that we don't actually know about, okay? And what the Quran, what they say is that yes, it recognizes the polarity between the masculine and the feminine. Yeah, it recognizes the qualities of the man and the qualities of the woman, but it acknowledges that there are differences between men and women. That's not a bad thing, is it? Because let's face it, that we are different. We are. And it doesn't suppress the women. It gives equal respect and to the men and the women, but it just acknowledges that motherhood is given such importance. Yeah, you know, the importance of being a mother. I mean, I went to a mosque. I took my daughter to a mosque a few months ago, and do you know, one of the great things, I just thought this was amazing. They had like an open day at a mosque local to us. So myself and my daughter went along, and just we were greeted by just wonderful people. And they have a television studio in the mosque, which of course, coming from a television background, I was really interested in. And we went down to the TV station area of the mosque, and there were women working in the production offices, and their children were there, and there was a creche in the mosque, and just the support that was given to the women, because rather than, you know, say you're a mother and, you know, you have to send your child off and off you go to work, they were like integrating seeing that it was important that for the woman to work and fulfill her own needs, but also allowing her that making it very accessible for her by creating spaces for her children to be there too. So I think for another video I'm going to look further into that, because I feel that there is a lot of unjustness around how the Western world perceives the Islamic faith. And actually, when we search for the truth is very different to what media might be putting out to us all. Okay, right, so I went very off track then, didn't I? But never mind, you know, it's an organic video. And yeah, so looking for your purpose, look within yourself first. Yes, look within yourself, work on yourself and the things that have been holding you back, and just let life unfold. And your passions, once you're working on yourself and you're taking away those chains of self-limited beliefs, then your passions will open up and become apparent in front of you. Okay, well, please do comment, like, subscribe, and yep, sending you lots of love. Hoping that today you will find your peace and send out love. Okay, bye-bye. Bye.